Okay, let's continue then. We've got a really easy topic here, so it should be really easy panel. MMA always give us easy questions, you know, how to leverage creativity in the age of digital and AI. So I'm going to pass it over to our panel rather than try and answer that. But really what I'd like to start off with is there's been a lot of focus on creativity, I think, all today. And I want to just get your view, before we dive into AI and your own experience with it, just what you think makes a really good creative. And I open it to anyone who wants to start.
All right, let me start. I think we all know that creativity is driving brand growth. We know from research that it is the #2 driver to have advertising ROI. So in KraftHeinz, there is really a big movement for disruptive creative. And one of the examples I wanted to share is a campaign we developed for Heinz. It's called Hidden Spots. And it is a campaign where we use technology to connect with the gaming community. So the insight is that 80% of gamers eat and drink during playing. But there is no pause button. So if you eat, you die. So what KraftHeinz did is they worked with the #1 game in the world to develop hidden spots in the gaming world where people could go and hide and eat a burger. So one of the things they did is print the map of those hidden spots on burger wraps, send it to influencers and KOLs, and they made this campaign viral. So it was very successful, high engagement, and award-winning. So that would be my pick.
Brilliant, thanks. Sarah?
Okay, Sully, if I can repeat your question, it's about how does the creativity drives impactful result? As an engineering, even though I'm a marketer, I think there is a capability of engineering in creating highly relevant content. Because nowadays consumers are, so many advertisings, everything's on their fingertips. And people are talking about how do we create, virality in these nowadays situations. But I think one of the important elements is about how do we engineering all those informations, consumers' informations across all the channel platform that we have, and then come up with something that's deliver highly relevant to consumers, becoming a critical point.
Well, firstly, selamat siang teman-teman. Look, I think marketing, creativity, look, it's evolved obviously over decades, right? But one thing that's not changed is I'm going to use the title of this event, right? Impact. Creativity or the use of technology as well in creativity that delivers impact, whatever that impact might be, whether it's to change behavior, right? Whether it's to move people, whether it's to, reduce, for instance, churn rate, right? I think it's about the impact. So creativity that actually delivers impact, is for me the most important thing.
Great. Thanks everyone. I mean, I loved your line, if you eat, you die. I mean, that's brilliant. I hope that wasn't your tagline though. But yeah, it's a great idea though, and a great insight that comes here. I think, you've talked about generally with creativity, and maybe I'll start with you, Prakash, this time, is within your own organization, I know you gave an example, Suzanne, but within your organization, with digital and AI becoming more prevalent and prominent, how is it affecting you?
I think it's technologies, there'll always be new technologies, right? They'll always be, and they'll evolve. I think it's we're living in a time where we have the opportunity to create the never-befores, right? And that's incredibly exciting, because frankly, the problems that we're trying to solve are also never-befores. And technologies like, artificial intelligence, machine learning, I refer to them as transformative technologies, right? Whether it's AI, whether it's machine learning, whether it's deep fake technology, whether it is super fast network protocols like 5G. The beauty is not just in those technologies themselves, or these transformative technologies themselves, but it's in the combination of these transformative technologies to create the never-befores. So as leaders of organizations, and especially a company like Dentsu, where we're fundamentally in the business of creatively solving our clients' problems or helping them to achieve their ambitions. It's about how do we use some of these technologies, right, and the combination of them to actually address an insight, right, that's looking to solve a problem. So take, for instance, when we use Google BigQuery to help a leading telco in Indonesia to essentially do better revenue forecasting or and reduce churn rate, right? Or for that matter, when we use augmented reality to help or work with a leading bank in Indonesia, right? And work on a campaign where we used augmented reality to empower women entrepreneurs, right? So that's the joy and the beauty of having all of these technologies and the combination of these technologies right at your fingertips. It's about how we use them and how do we combine them to create that sort of impact.
Thanks. Sarah?
Yeah, I think technology really helped us, especially during pandemic. We are in the cosmetic industry. In the early days of pandemic, how is actually, that condition impacting cosmetic industry. Why is that? Because cosmetic, you need to touch, you need to feel in order to find what is the right lip color for us, isn't it, Susanne? What is the right shades color? And then in order to do that, they need to really try and then put it whether this is fit for me or not. So you can imagine, no one is actually, out from home. And then how do we survive? And this technology really helped us. Then we create, through AR and AI, we create an advanced accuracy visual mapping so that consumers at home, they can do a virtual try-on. We do an advanced virtual try-on, whether this is the right lip color, whether this is the right shades, and we play a lot with, even though you're at home, you can try this kind of makeup look, for example. Those things. We make really fun about the experience, even though it's in digital world. And because of that technology, we are not only able to connect with the consumers, we are able to introduce the new experience to Indonesian consumers. How do they play with the, cosmetic? And on top of that, we also launched the Skin Lab with all that visual mapping accuracy. And after that, after all the experience, they can come up with, we recommendation this product for you. And that's also the reasons, even though during pandemic, we continue do innovations launch, and it was successful. And I think if it is not through pandemic, we are not reached to where we are today.
Yeah, it's a really, really good example where a problem has become an opportunity with the use of technology. Yeah,
Exactly.
It's a great example, thanks. So is there anything you would like to add?
Yeah, I think for me, technology, AI, they are all tools to help us to get to know the consumer better, to be where they are, to deliver them the experience that they are looking for. But the fundamentals of marketing do not change. It is all about consumer centricity, having an in-depth understanding of the consumer insights, and whether it is with or with technology, that will stay the same.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I was about to ask you whether we think AI and this new technology is a threat or an opportunity. I'm not going to ask you that because I think you've already answered it, that you see it as a big opportunity. But are there any sort of watch-outs as we move into the new technology? Some things to be aware of and to avoid? Anyone want to take that? Prakash?
Happy to go first. And I completely agree with Suzanne there, right? I think it's always about the consumer insight first. So I use this term, right? I, and T, right? Insight, idea, and technology. I think when you look back in the past, right, when I guess we had fewer technologies, so to speak, but life was, I guess, a lot simpler. It used to be more of IC, which is insight, idea, channels, right? Yeah. The beauty of today is the idea, and why I say it's I, and T, the I hasn't changed, which is the insight, the consumer insight. So that's what's always remained consistent, right? The difference is today, the idea and the technology, and it can be actually IIT or ITI, because the technology can influence the birth of an idea, right? So the first one remains consistent, and so therefore the watch out is never ever lose sight of the consumer insight, right? Everything else comes after that. And but in today's day and age, it can be an idea, and then how can we use technology to either enable the idea or accelerate the idea, or a technology that actually gives birth to an idea.
Okay, I would like to add on great points from Prakash. I think in nowadays, and how do we leverage more? The thing is actually, consistently the thing is about consumer-centric. And I would like to adding on about what you said earlier about insight, idea, and technology. Right? From insight, idea, and technology, what I can adding on is about, the number one is about co-creations. Co-creations. Because, with this new technology, big data, machine learning, I found that, co-creation with consumers is becoming easier. We can directly co-create with consumers. We experience co-creation directly with 30 Amina, one of our brand bestest consumers, directly, and then we can create with a campaign together. We did only a few hours. Back then, if we only use the old research technology, research methodology, it will not be happen like that. But this, we can do a co-creation together and it's create greater impact. Because you can directly get what is their feedback. And then we continue build, how do we improve? I think that co-creation is the first. The second I would like to add on is about empowering creators. Nowadays, there are so many what we call KOL or KOS, key opinion sellers. How do we empowering them and team up together with them in creating authentic and genuine review about our products, our brands from their point of view, and they can share their great point of view directly with consumers, and consumers see, a different type of genuine and honest material. I think that's how we utilize this technology.
Thanks.
Yeah, for me, I think technology is mostly an opportunity. It allows us to act at the speed of culture because we have much more real-time information. It allows us to be more relevant for the consumer, etc. I think the watch out is if it overpowers the insight or the objective we're trying to achieve. That we should always keep in mind and have the metrics to measure that effectiveness.
Yeah, thanks. I think a couple of you have touched on this point already, but we talked about sort of centralized versus local earlier in some other panels and some presentations. How much does this new developments allow you to go sort of really local or hyper local in the Indonesian market? Suzanne, do you want to?
For me, if I look at KraftHeinz, it's actually a balance of the two. So we have more centralized opportunities in the sense of scalable partnerships, tools, technologies that we use as a global company, but the insight, the know-how and the relevance and the cultural impact, that is very, very local. So it's a beautiful hybrid in my view.
Local, hyper-local. As local companies, I think leveraging the power of local insights is really powerful. But executing it in more hyper-local will even give a greater result. That's how I can say from the experience point of view. So combining both, if we do it carefully, that will deliver a greater impact.
Yeah, look, again, I'm going to agree with Suzanne here completely. Look, I think it's in order to achieve that impact locally, right, being hyper-local is incredibly important. Understanding the local nuances, the local culture, what technology enables you to do, and the scale of those ecosystems and the partnerships. And even when it comes to the ecosystems and partnerships, it's about having those global ecosystems, but also having a hyper-local aspect to those ecosystems as well, that are incredibly important. So local insight, local cultural understanding, so that we can create impact, leveraging the scale of the global partnerships that we have, as well as the local partnerships that we have, to enable the ideas, right, to actually create the impact are critical. So that's really the way we look at it.
Thanks a lot, everyone. I'm aware of time, and we're up. I think a couple of takeaways from me from the discussion we've just had is, I think the feeling amongst you guys is the fundamentals haven't changed in terms of creativity, but the opportunities are immense as we look out there. So I'd like to just wrap up this panel. If you could just give the panel a round of applause, and thanks for the answers.
Thank you once again to our panelists and moderators. And of course, we'd like to invite you to take our official pictures for Impact Indonesia 2022. Thank you very much once again, Mr. PRAKASH KAMDAR, Ms. AMALIA SANTI, Ms. SUSANNE MIGCHELS, and of course, Mr. Lee Risk for this amazing discussion.